These are the top 10 most hated countries, according to the worldpopulationnews.com. Coming in at number 10 is India. Over the years, India has garnered some bad PR. India seems to be despised heavily because of bad hygiene and dirtiness. And surprisingly enough, their accent seems distasteful to other nationalities. At number 9 is Saudi Arabia. The oil-rich nation is disliked greatly because of its strict and violent policies towards human rights, and also Saudi Arabia seems to be misogynistic and suppress female rights. Number 8 is Iraq. A terrorist group founded in Iraq is the major cause of the animosity because this may pose as a threat to international security. Number 7 is Iran. Those who hate Iran typically cite its vast list of human rights abuses and tendency stir the pot against countries whose religions clash with its own as causes. Further, Iran is often accused of sponsoring terrorism. At number 6 is Pakistan. There are a number of reasons why Pakistan is considered a hated country, starting with the fact that it is one of the few Middle Eastern countries to have access to nuclear weapons. Moreover, the country is considered a haven for terrorism, and groups such as the Taliban and Al-Qaeda routinely participate in bombings and other militant attacks that kill thousands of people annually. Number 5 is Israel. The only Jewish-majority country in the world, Israel is a Middle Eastern country locked in a territorial dispute with the Muslim-majority country Palestine over territory that is sacred to both countries' dominant religions. As a result, Israel is hated by a great majority of Muslims and non-Muslims all over the world. Number 4 is North Korea. North Korea is disliked largely due to its authoritative government's oppression of its own citizens and, at times, peculiarly aggressive international policies. Ruled by third-generation dictator Kim Jong-un, North Korea wields tremendous control over its citizens' lives and may have the worst human rights record in the world. However, it's difficult to be sure, because the country is also easily the most secretive in the world. Number 3 is Russia. For many people, Russia is the world's most hated country. However, Russia doesn't seem to worry about that reputation, as current President Vladimir Putin continues his imperialistic effort to reunite the former Soviet republics into a single nation. Russia is quick to engage in military conflict with other nations, particularly those with which it shares a border, and typically acts as a bullish aggressor. The country's 2022 invasion of Ukraine stands as a strong example. Russia is also known for its alliances with other frequently disliked nations and dictators, such as Syria's Bashar al-Assad and North Korea's Kim Jong-un, from whom Russia purchased weapons and ammo in 2022, which does little to bolster its image. Number 2 is the United States. While this country's appearance on the most hated list may surprise many Americans, few Asians or Europeans will bat an eyelash. As with Russia, a major cause of the animosity directed towards the U.S. is the country's tendency to overstep when trying to influence international events in a way that benefits the U.S. The U.S. frequently sends troops into other countries, Vietnam, Panama, Afghanistan, Iraq, etc., for reasons that are often criticized by people in other countries. It has also been known to throw its weight around politically, and what seems like leadership to the U.S. and its allies can look like oppression or bullying to people in other countries, particularly if that leadership involves supporting questionable regimes in oil-rich countries. Before I mention number 1 on the list, here are some honorable mentions. Both the UK and France were quite colonial in centuries past, and conquered many nations and civilizations all around the globe. When that happened, the conquered countries were often exploited, with the ruling country extracting wealth, natural resources, and even people from their new territories. While the days of globe-spanning empires are long past, there are those who still hate the countries for it. Top spot on our list, number 1, is China. China may be the most hated country in the world. Only slightly less imperialistic than Russia, China is similarly ruled by an authoritative regime, one that is arguably even more oppressive and controlling. Hatred for China's government stems from a vast range of causes. The government controls many businesses, and there are frequent reports of corruption, forced labor, sweatshops, and products made using cheaper but unhealthy or toxic materials. China is also the world's largest polluter and emitter of the greenhouse gas CO2 by a huge margin. China's government refuses to grant independence to Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau, and interferes with any attempt by Taiwan to establish political sovereignty and join the United Nations. China has also been accused of debt trap diplomacy, in which it loans developing countries money they are unlikely to be able to repay, and in exchange gain undue political influence over that country. The internet is very heavily censored. Human rights are routinely suppressed. For example, free speech and workers' rights are both oppressed, and those arrested are pushed through a legal system that lacks due process. The government is arguably committing genocide against the Uyghur people. Finally, Yulin, China is the home of the annual Lychee and Dog Meat Festival, a public image disaster which many Westerners and animal lovers in general find barbaric.